Hello everyone and welcome to another FPL video. In today's video, we're going to take a look at my Game Week 23 team selection. We're going to take a look at a couple of transfer ideas I have going into Game Week 23. We're also going to take a look at how my team fared in Game Week 22. So we're going to do a little bit of review on how the fixtures went in that game week, and then move forward to my Game Week 23 team selection, captain choices, and easiest fixtures to target in Game Week 23. So if you're new around here and you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, share, and follow for more FPL content. So let's get right into it. Hello again, FPL.CARNAGE here. So let's take a look at how my team fared in Game Week 22. In Game Week 22, a nice green arrow, finally back into top 2 million with 48 points as my total score in Game Week 22. I had Sanchez in goal in the game against Brentford. He returned 11 points in that game. Honestly, I think that was my highest return from my team by any player. So it was really exciting having him, just because he was one of the players I spoke hugely about bringing in if you were going to wildcard. So it was just really good having him in my team for that game, and he managed to keep a clean sheet, pick up some save points, and pick up bonus points. So he returned 11 points in that game, which was massive for me and my team. In my defense, I had a double Arsenal defenders. I had Julian Timber and Gabriel. Timber could have returned 6 points, but he picked up a yellow card, so he returned 5 points. Gabriel got his clean sheet and picked up 2 bonus points in that game against Forest, so he returned 8 points. Mukiele picked up an assist in that game against Crystal Palace and also got some defcons in that game to return 6 points in my defense. Moving into my midfield, it's been really disappointing back to back from attackers in general, really. I had Bruno Guimaraes, who returned just 3 points in that game against Wolves. I was honestly expecting more in that game. I was expecting a little, more goals actually, but it was a 0-0 draw. Bruno Guimaraes, 3 points from him. Wilson with a 2-pointer in that game against Leeds, where they lost 1-0 at the very end of the game. But he's still a really nice budget pick to have. I don't mind keeping him in my team. He has been great so far this season. So 2 points from him in that game. Cherky coming off the bench in the second half in the Manchester derby, couldn't really do much or influence the game positively for Manchester City. So he got just the 1 point in Game Week 22. And fourth midfielder being Declan Rice, who returned 3 points after a 0-0 draw to Forest over the weekend as well. Now up top, I had Jarrod Bowen, who returned 3 points. He picked up some DEFCON points, which is actually really impressive because I think this is the second or the third time he's picking up DEFCON points that I can clearly remember as an attacker. So 3 points. He unfortunately got a yellow card, and he did see one of his goals get disallowed as well. Could have been a nice haul from him in that game against Tottenham, but unfortunately just the 3 points from him. Thiago with a 2-pointer, could have easily gotten 2 assists in that game against Chelsea, but Thiago just didn't have his shooting boots, or rather his scoring boots in that game, so he returned just the 2 points. And Haaland, who has been on a 6-goal drought, just 1 goal in his last 7 games, he returned another blank as my captain, returning just 4 points. Now this is where it's just really funny because on my bench I accumulated a total of 23 points on my bench. Dubravka had 5 points after a 1-1 draw. He picked up a couple of save points in that game against Liverpool and conceded just the 1 goal, so he returned 5 points. Cunha coming off the bench to get an assist for the 2nd goal in the Manchester derby. Could have easily gotten a goal and assist, but had one of his goals ruled out. Tarkowski coming away with a clean sheet against Aston Villa at Villa Park after handing them their first loss at home since November. So that's just, and also picking up DEFCON points, returning 8 points, and then Goodmanson also coming away with a clean sheet in that game against Fulham over the weekend. So ultimately, you just can never predict these things, right? I think I should have actually seen it coming with the Manchester derby, the manager bounce, possibly starting Cunha. I really thought I did get away with it with Cunha not starting the game, but he did come off the bench and get more points than Cherky, who also came off the bench. And I really didn't consider Tarkowski because Villa have been really good at home, so I honestly saw Everton conceding. But yeah, all the same, a really nice, decent green arrow, 48 points in Game Week 22. Can't really complain about that. So we look forward to game week 23 and try to continue to climb in the overall world ranking. And so yeah, let's see how it goes, right? But in game week 23, this is what my team is shaping up to look like. I have 2 free transfers saved up because I rolled my transfers from last week. So I am most likely going to use those 2 transfers this week. Just like I said, maybe players that I want for this week, maybe players that I am bringing in for future weeks, right? In goal, I'm going with Crystal Sanchez, who is away at Crystal Palace. It's going to be another, I don't know, maybe a KG game. We saw Sanchez keep part of the game in their Champions League match against Pafos, so I'm not really sure what to expect in this game. But I think Sanchez should retain his, his position as the starting goalkeeper. So he's going to start for me away at Crystal Palace. In my defense, I am going to remain doubled up on the Arsenal defenders with Timber and Gabriel at home to Manchester United. It's an absolutely must-win game for Arsenal to continue to increase the gap at the top of the table at the moment. So I am going to be starting them. Tarkowski is going to be my third defender at home to Leeds. Now, it's just really funny because this is a game where you expect Everton to possibly maybe come away with a clean sheet, but he's going to concede in this game. You just know that it's going to happen, right? But yeah, he's going to start for me either ways. He's good for DEFCON, probably could get a set piece goal as well. So he's my third defender. And moving on to my midfield, I have Declan Rice, who's one of the highest scoring midfielders currently in the game at home to Man U. He's on set pieces. He's nailed on minutes as well. It's a really important game, and he did get the rest in the midweek against Inter Milan. So I think he's nailed guaranteed on minutes to start that game. My second midfielder is Wilson at home to Brighton. Hopefully he can bounce back and get some goal involvement in that game against Brighton. Brighton managed to get a late minute equalizer on Monday night against Bournemouth. So a draw in their last game, but it's at Craven Cottage. All their players at Fulham that were away at AFCON are back and available for this game. We're going to wait and see how it impacts Wilson's minutes, but he has been their best player so far, so I think his minutes should remain safe, at least for the time being. And then my third midfielder at the moment is Enzo Fernandez. He was one of the midfielders I brought in this week, right? I took Matheus Cunha out and I've brought in Enzo Fernandez. He's one I'm looking at for future game weeks, but I also don't mind having him ahead. Having him this week ahead of game week 24, right? Ahead of the good fixture run. It's away at Crystal Palace. I think his minutes are also nailed. He's second to penalties when Palmer is not on the field. He's also on some set pieces as well. So it's a really decent own in my opinion. He has returned 3 goal involvement in his last 4, so I don't mind having him as my third midfielder. And my fourth is Bruno Guimaraes, right? So Bruno Guimaraes has been rumored to be injured with an ankle. He picked up an ankle injury in the Champions League, and it's really worrisome because I really fancy him when he plays at home and it's a home game. But I just don't know that I want to risk starting him and seeing him come off the bench or start and get subbed off early, without potentially getting anything from that game. So it's one I'm looking at. I may decide to move away from him. I do have Cherki on the bench as my, as the fifth midfielder, as a sub, but I don't really trust Cherki's minutes under Guardiola anymore. It's really confusing. I may actually end up using my second free transfer to bring in Bruno Fernandes. Like I said, future planning, because I do like Bruno's runs from game week 24 till the end of the season. I don't mind even doubling up on Man U assets, so I would rather just bring him in because I know he's guaranteed on minutes, and since returning from injury, he has picked up 2 attacking returns in the last 2 games, right? Burnley and against Manchester City. So I actually don't mind having him against Arsenal. The only question is, do I start him, right? But yeah, that sums up my midfield. And then up in attack, I have Bowen at home to Sunderland. Hopefully he can pick up an attacking return after consecutive blanks in the last 2 game weeks. And Thiago at home to Nottingham Forest. His first blank after the massive double figure hauls back to back. Hopefully he gets back to goal scoring ways at home to Forest, who have looked a shadow of their self from last season, but hopefully Thiago can continue his goal scoring form at home to Forest. And then Haaland, who is my captain, at home to Wolves. This is one that I am keeping an eye on because Mamouche is back, and I honestly feel like this is the game Pep may decide to rest Haaland because they have the Champions League game against Galatasaray in the midweek, and then they have Tottenham away at the weekend following that fixture in Champions League. So Haaland may look to be rested or come off really early in this game. So I'm not really sure about captaincy on him at the moment. I am looking at possibly Thiago as a possible captaincy option, right? Or even the likes of Gabriel, in all honesty, just for his attack, his set piece threat in that game against Manchester United. Like I said, it's a must-win game for them. I think they'll go all out at it, right? So yeah, it's a bit shaky. My vice captain is on Thiago. I made tilt towards captaining Thiago at the end of the day, but it's just hard to ignore Haaland if he does start and is on goal scoring form. But I think maybe these decisions can be left, a bit closer to the deadline. Maybe we may get a few more leaks or a few more information that would help make better decisions. But for now, my captain armband remains on Haaland and my vice captain remains on Thiago. On my bench, like I said, I have Cherki at home to Wolves. Honestly, it feels like I should just risk it and start him, but I am almost convinced that I just want to bring in Bruno Fernandes, right? He could possibly pick up something in this game against Arsenal, really. They looked really, really good in the Manchester derby, playing under interim manager Carrick. So it could be an end-to-end game. Bruno playing in a free role as a number 10. We could see a lot of attacking output from him from now to the end of the season. So I honestly don't mind bringing him in, either for Bruno Guimaraes or for Cherki, right? Like I said, I need a player in my team whose minutes are guaranteed, and Bruno Fernandes is that kind of player. My second player on my bench is actually Mukiele, away at West Ham, and they currently have the highest XG and XGI considered for defenders, centre-backs specifically, from set pieces. I think this is a game that could profit Mukiele. So if I actually do decide not to go with Bruno Guimaraes or Bruno Fernandes, if I do bring him in, or Ryan Cherki, I could just go to a 4-3-3 formation and play Mukiele anyways, or the likes of Dan Ballard if you have them, or Alderete, right? I think this is a game where their centre backs could, produce some massive hauls, and we all know that they're also good for DEFCON. So I actually don't mind just going 4-3-3, right, and rolling the one transfer. But I could also just see myself bringing in Bruno Fernandes, so it could really go either ways for me on that part. But we'll see. At the moment, I still am stuck on 3-4-3, and I am strongly considering bringing in Fernandes. But yeah, and my third player on my bench is Gudmundsson, away at Everton. A really, really nice budget pick to have. Picked up 6 points in game week 22. So he's last player on my bench, and my goalkeeper, who is Dubravka, at home to Tottenham. A game that I don't think managers should really target because Tottenham haven't been on the best of form. I don't buy into the game that they won in the Champions League against Dortmund. It was with a red card. They didn't really play electrifying football to start with. So, and most of the key players I think you could target, with the likes of Richarlison, Kudus, they're out. Although Solanke is back, I'm not really sure what his form is like, and whether it's advisable to be bringing him in at this time. I think one of the best fixtures to target this week is the West Ham Sunderland fixture. You could target West Ham attackers like Bowen. I wouldn't go for Paqueta because of the whole transfer speculation surrounding him right now. So the likes of Bowen or one of the new attackers who they signed. You can also go for Sunderland defenders. I think Brentford Forest is another really good game to look at. Ndiaye is also a really, really nice pick in my opinion. Possibly maybe a 1 week punt. If you have space in your midfield, you can go for the likes of Ndiaye, who is guaranteed minutes. He's also their penalty taker as well in that team. So I think he's a really nice punt if you're looking for a transfer in for game week 23. So like I said, my captain is on Erling Haaland. My vice is on Thiago. I am not settled on my captaincy yet, and these are a couple of transfers that I am looking at. Enzo has been brought in already. It's yet to be seen if I roll my last transfer or I just bring in Fernandes. But yeah, this is what my team looks like. If you have any opinions or questions, please leave them in the comment section. I'll get back to them as soon as I can. Like I said, if you're new around here and you enjoyed the video, please do well to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next FPL video.